Today we are diving even deeper into Dawn of War 4, uncovering even more details that you might have missed from the trailers. Honestly, every single time I rewatch them, I notice something new. And on top of that, many of you in the comment section below have been absolute legends, pointing out things that I haven't yet covered. And so today, I will be bringing some more details uncovered about Dawn of War 4, not necessarily all of them, but just more. And don't worry though, because there won't be much overlap, if any at all, with previous videos. Everything that we are covering in today's video is pretty much fresh for the channel. So let's start with something that the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have spotted. If you look past the sheer destruction that is being dished out by the Space Marine Dreadnoughts in the trailers, you'll notice something very interesting. We are actually shown 3 different wargear loadouts for the Dreadnought. One of the Dreadnoughts appears to be equipped with a heavy plasma cannon. Visually, it looks extremely similar to the plasma cannon used by the Repulsor Executioner, which suggests a role focused on cracking heavy armor. I'd expect that this variant to be especially effective against elite infantry, vehicles, and tanks. High damage, slower firing, but devastating when it connects. Alongside that, we also see a different Dreadnought armed with what looks like an assault cannon. This does appear to be a classic type of loadout for Dawn of War units. It looks to be a self-loading, solid slug autocannon designed for sustained fire at range. Now historically, this type of weapon excels at shredding infantry, applying constant pressure, rather than single heavy hits. The third wargear option is where things really heat up, because the heavy flamer equips the Dreadnought with some great anti-infantry technology. But the Dreadnought isn't the only Space Marine unit getting some love when it comes to wargear. The Invictor Tactical Warsuit also shows off some interesting options. And just to be clear, while it may look similar to a Dreadnought at first glance, they are 2 very different machines. A Dreadnought is essentially a walking sarcophagus, a mortally wounded Space Marine permanently fixated within a heavily armored chassis. It's slow, incredibly durable, and designed to anchor the battlefield, trading mobility for raw resilience and firepower. The Invictor Tactical Warsuit, on the other hand, is piloted by a fully intact Space Marine. It's supposed to be lighter, faster, and built for aggression. Where the Dreadnought endures, the Invictor strikes. Forward deployment, ambush tactics, and rapid assaults are very much in its identity. Looking at its wargear, one option we see is the twin-linked Iron Hail autocannon. This really reinforces the Invictor's role as a fast, aggressive fire support unit. Being twin-linked, it should deliver consistent, sustained damage, perfect for cutting down infantry and harassing light vehicles whilst staying mobile. Then there's the Incendium Cannon, and this is where things really heat up. Essentially, a heavy flamer. It's built for close range dominance, and wide arcs of burning promethium are perfect for flushing enemies out of cover and overwhelming massed infantry. This weapon turns the Invictor Tactical Warsuit into a true shock unit, ideal for aggressive pushes and breaking defensive positions through sheer area damage. Together, these options really underline just how flexible the Invictor Tactical Warsuit is. Whether it is configured for sustained mid-range fire or brutal close-quarters assaults, it's clearly designed to strike fast, disrupt enemy formations, exploit openings, and contest requisition and power points. A sharp contrast to the slower, more enduring battlefield presence of a Dreadnought. Now there is actually something very interesting that even links the Dreadnought and the Invictor Tactical Warsuit together. They actually share a common tertiary weapon option. It's in full display in the footage, and it is the twin Fragstorm grenade launcher. Now, we haven't actually seen this weapon firing in the trailers yet, but it is clearly present on both unit models. That alone is exciting, because Fragstorm grenade launchers are typically designed for close-ranged area suppression, as well as anti-infantry pressure and clearing clustered enemies off objectives. If this weapon is fully implemented in gameplay, it could give both the Dreadnought and the Invictor Tactical Warsuit an additional layer of crowd control, especially during pushes onto contested requisition or power points. The fact that it hasn't yet been showcased also suggests that there may be some very interesting reveals to come. Now, especially for the Space Marine enjoyers out there, what do you think that these abilities will be doing in the bottom right of the screen? We do already know that one of them is a bombing run and another is an orbital strike, but what about the other three revealed in the most recent Dark Angels trailer for Dawn of War 4? Let me know your predictions in the comments section below. Before we move on to the Necrons though, let me quickly say this. If you're enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could give the video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps the channel more than you might think. And I do just want to say a very big thank you, because the support lately has been incredible and I really do appreciate every single one of you. Alright, let's talk Necrons. In the last video, I mentioned how the Necron Lockhust Heavy Destroyers seemed to be barely scratching the Invictor Tactical Warsuit. At the time, that felt a bit strange. A big thank you, by the way, to Mild Tomfoolery123, who pointed out there is actually a very clear explanation. So essentially, these destroyers were equipped with the Enmitic Exterminator, which is their close-range anti-infantry weapon, and they weren't using their Gauss Destructors, which are the long-range anti-tank guns that you'd expect to threaten something like an Invictor Tactical Warsuit. So what we're seeing here wasn't underpowered damage, just the wrong tool for the job. You see, I really do read the comments. Now, another Necron unit that I wanted to highlight today is the Canoptek Spyder. Now, traditionally, this unit is known to be more of a support piece, responsible for maintaining and repairing Necron tomb systems. Lore-wise, well, the Canoptek Spyders oversee entire swarms of scarabs, crafting them within their abdomens and unleashing them to repair nearby Necrons or consume enemy weapons and armor. What's interesting though is how aggressive that these units appear in the trailers. In fact, we see a Canoptek Spyder swarming a Space Marine, giving him what looks to be a very cozy hug. In other parts of the trailers, we see the Canoptek Spyder soaking up a surprising amount of damage during large engagements. Either way, all Canoptek Spyders are indeed equipped with a Fabricator Claw array. Whilst it's primarily used for repairs, these same claws also double as brutal close-range weapons. From what we've seen so far, they look surprisingly tanky, which could make them far more threatening on the front line than many people expect. Now, we have previously talked about the Lich Guard, particularly those equipped with dispersion shields. They look like absolute monsters, slow, relentless frontline units designed to push forward in waves. However, it turns out that Lich Guard are also known to wield war scythes. And whilst we haven't seen that variant in the trailers yet, I wouldn't actually be too surprised if it does appear in the final game. Especially given how flexible Space Marine wargear already looks, it would make a lot of sense for the Necrons to receive similar options through the Lich Guard, though it's also possible that the Lich Guard are being locked into a very specific role this time around. Essentially, time will tell. Now, there is one more unit that I haven't covered on the channel yet, and honestly, it's probably one of the most exciting Necron inclusions in Dawn of War 4. And it is the Skorpekh Destroyer. These units represent the Necrons at their most unhinged. Skorpekh Destroyers have fully given in to the Destroyer curse, abandoning restraint and strategy in favor of pure annihilation. On the battlefield, they are brutal melee shock troops designed to crash into enemy lines and tear elite units apart with terrifying efficiency. Now, unlike the Lich Guard, who feel like an unstoppable wall of metal, Skorpekh Destroyers are apparently all about speed and lethality. Well, their multi-limbed bodies and oversized hyperphase weapons make them perfect for flanking, diving onto key targets, and punishing overextended enemy units. And whilst they are clearly offensive first and foremost, they are still Necrons. Living metal with natural durability means that they are likely to soak more punishment than most other factions' melee equivalents when they are properly supported. This ties directly into the next phase of the video, which is going to talk about Necron commanders. Now, we do already know that one Necron commander is indeed the Chronomancer, which fits perfectly as a control-orientated, support-focused leader. A lot of signs point to the other Necron commander being potentially a Skorpekh Destroyer Lord, because not only is the second announced commander to be a Destroyer Lord, apparently it's going to have a melee focus as well as being aggressive, and that, well, it fits in with the Skorpekh unit's type. Now, I won't claim this idea as my own. In fact, there is one helpful helper called Norseland who essentially has been pointing me in this direction, and I kind of tend to agree with him, because it fits the modern Necron identity perfectly, and it would enable a hyper-aggressive playstyle focused on momentum and pressure, creating a strong contrast with the Chronomancer's control-focused approach, as well as ticking the boxes of being a Destroyer Lord and also a melee and aggressive focused commander. Now, especially for the Necron enjoyers out there, which Necron unit excites you the most? The Lich Guard with their slow shielded advance, or the Skorpekh Destroyers with their outright brutality? And if the Destroyer Lord does indeed turn out to be a Skorpekh Lord, what kind of abilities would you like him to have? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, I know what many of you are probably thinking, well, what about the Orcs, and what about the Adeptus Mechanicus? Well, you are absolutely right. With the latest trailers focusing so heavily on Space Marines and Necrons, they've been getting most of the spotlight. But don't you worry, I am already cooking up a dedicated video covering everything that we know so far about the Orcs and the Adeptus Mechanicus in Dawn of War 4. And if you'd like to know when that drops, well, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on the notifications so that you do get a bit of a ding-dong when those videos get uploaded. Until then, however, I hope you're enjoying the holidays, take care, and see you next time.